Hey guys, today I'm going to do something new. I'm not going to do an app review. I'm going to actually walk you through the process of installing and updating your phone to the latest OTA from your manufacturer/carrier without losing root. Let's check it out.
This episode of XDA Developer TV is brought to you by the XDA DevCon. Join us August 9th through 11th in Miami, Florida, a conference for developers by developers. More information available at www.xda-devcon.com.
One of the ways of finding out if you have a firmware update is when you log into your manufacturer's software. In this case, I'm using a Node 2, so if you're using an HTC device or any other thing, it will let you know. In this situation, I have an update to MD1. Again, the question would be is if I update this, do I lose or do I keep my root? I've confirmed this using the XDA forums that this update will actually in fact take away root privileges. So one of the main things you do is you do not update this firmware straight from the software. You go straight to XDA. But before we go there, I just want to give you a heads up that this software was released on the 3rd. It has Smart Switch as part of the options, security enhancement, and supposed to be fixing some of the text messages being missed and picture messages and voice calls going straight to voicemail. The other thing that we want to make sure here says device software is not rooted is one of the prerequisites. So my phone didn't prompt me to install this for OTA. The last OTA it did, but I still had to go through this process. Next I go in is straight to XDA under the Galaxy Note 2 and the Android development. There's a sticky post which has all the stock firmwares in form of factory images, ODX, DODX, kernel, and modem. I'm not going to go too much into the explanation. It's factory image for, in shorthand will reset your phone to factory state. ODX is the same version as the factory with root installed and it will not reset your data on your phone. DODX is the same file but it's in DODX form, and I have a link to a video put together by Adam Outler about a year ago. Please check that out, and it explains to you the options of what is ODX and DODX and why you'd want to choose one over the other. Personal preference, if I'm running stock, which is what I'm doing here, I don't want to go to a DODX file. I will stick with my ODX version, which essentially is better optimized for stock ROMs. The kernel is provided separately, but is also included in these files, as well as this one, and the modem is also provided separately as it is included in the factory image, but not in the ODX and the DODX. So the two files I will need to download and put on my internal memory on the phone will be the ODX file and the modem. Last but not least, I will need to use Triangle Away just to be able to reset the counter on my phone. If you're using a Samsung device, you should be well aware of this. Chainfire updated the application to version 2.9. Let's go ahead and check it out on the phone. So the first thing we'll do is make sure to download the files to your phone. Go ahead and download it, and I guess I mentioned before, I downloaded the ODX version of the file, and I downloaded the modem to my file, to the to the memory, internal memory on your phone, not the SD card. The other thing we want to do is, and at least in my situation, I've installed some custom apps that needed to be installed into the system root. Now, you can either leave them and reinstall them later, or in my case, I'm just going to take them out. I'm using Titanium Backup, and I'm converting this app over to a user app so that the system doesn't override it. Once I'm done, I can use Titanium Backup and then revert it back. So it tells me that it's done. Now I'm good, and I should be able to start the process. One of the main ways to do this, obviously, is to reboot into your recovery. I use ROM Manager. It's easier. If you're using the TeamWin Recovery, you can use their interface and it'll do the same thing. You just go and boot into recovery, click OK. We're going to give it a couple of seconds. First thing you want to do is go ahead and wipe the cache partition. So you scroll down using the volume key. It's done. Then we go under Advanced, and we want to wipe the Dalvik cache. Okay. From there, we're going to say Install Zip from SD card, and it says Apply SD card update. No, we want to say Choose Zip. First thing we want to do is we'll install the ODX file. Once the update is done, we want to go back and choose the other file, which essentially is the modem. So the phone booted up. We'll get rid of this notification. We'll go into settings, all the way down to about device. And we can see that the MD1 build number is, we'll say grand. And the other thing is baseband version is the TV MD1, which is the UVB MD1, which is the current version, Android 4.2. The model number is still the same, and it went ahead and updated it. So that was a quick update. The other thing we want to do is we'll go into our system, or applications, and launch Triangle Away. Triangle Away will first attempt to identify the device, correct version. We'll keep in mind it tells us basically, it'll have to go into recovery, version 2.9, and make sure that you support the developer. And the other thing you want to do is basically is reset. If you try to say check the counter, the current status is not going to be able to do that. It needs to reset. So you say reset flash counter, say continue. Once we reboot it, the device will be into the screen, and it'll basically say the flash counter is 1 since I've already flashed a custom ROM. Binary status is custom. Please do not attempt to do this unless you're really aware and very comfortable with what you're doing. To reset, we'll go ahead and use the volume up. Hold the phone. It says resetting counter and status, and it will reboot our phone back to normal state. That's pretty much the process. The main thing you want to keep in mind again is that be patient. It does take some time, and if you have any problems, please check out the forums. So the main things you want to keep in mind is the benefits of having this is obviously you get to keep your root, you're updated to the latest OTA, and you have control over your device. That's one of the main benefits of doing that. The other thing as far as some of the maybe possible negatives would be, again, that you need to research for the file that you need as far as being the rooted version of the OTA that you need, and make sure you install the kernel that if it's not included, as well as the modem. The other option you want to make sure that you have, and again, you want to keep in mind is sometimes there is going to be some troubleshooting. When I installed this OTA on my phone, I had 2 versions of SuperUser. I like to use Chainfire SuperUser, and it comes bundled with a different Super SU type application. So by default, I had to troubleshoot it and to make sure to uninstall the other application that came with the ROM, and then make sure that the Chainfire version is currently running. You also want to make sure you have nerves of steel, because this will kind of make you scared. A lot of us spend a lot of money on these devices, and when you're trying to play with them and you're trying to modify the operating system, you're always worried that you might end up having a break. At the end, I did have to run Triangle Away to be able to reset the counter on the phone, but again, thanks to Chainfire, he was able to provide us with an updated version of the application that does support the Node 2, and will reset the counter on that. Let me know what you think. This is different than using applications like OTA Rootkeeper. Not all devices are supported by that application. It just intended to show you a step-by-step process of how do you upgrade to the latest OTA. In this situation was the Node 2, with the ability to keep root and keep all those privileged applications that you like to use, like Titanium Backup, Helium, some of the other applications on the market that are still requiring root. Like and subscribe to this channel, please, and if you are going to go or planning to attend DEF CON, please check out the information in the description, as well as please check out my main channel and let me know what you think of this application in the comments below. I'll see you guys next week.